Hello everyone, welcome back to the news desk for the final time here at Pro Tour Avacyn Restored in Barcelona. The Pro Tour historian Brian David-Marshall, statistician Rich Hagon with you. We're here to recap 3 tumultuous days BDM, but in particular a Pro Tour Sunday the likes of which you and I really can't recall in terms of stellar matches.
Say what you will about the miracle mechanic, it makes for some gripping magic. And we watched Alexander Hayne from Canada just make every pull of his deck exciting, nail-biting, white-knuckle magic all the way through from the quarterfinals through to the finals today.
So our top 8, it already had diverse decks within it, but we were kind of lucky the way the quarterfinals panned out. By the time we got to the semis, we had 4 very different decks. Let's take you back to the start of the day. Gardenis Vidugiris, the Lithuanian national champion, going to be at the World Magic Cup. He placed against Naoki Shimizu in the quarterfinals from Japan. It was Spirits, the SCG Black deck, against Naya. What happened there?
Well, we saw that go to 5 games. Both players traded blows back and forth. Shimizu fell short, and Gardenis advanced with the Blue-Green Spirits deck.
And it looked like that's what kind of should have happened, but it was a lot tighter than people thought.
It was supposed to be a very lopsided match in Gardenis' favor, but it was hard fought and went right down to the wire, something that we would see throughout this top 8.
Next up, Dennis Rashid of Sweden. He's their World Magic Cup representative now. He placed against Ken Yukihiro of Japan again, and this time that was Reanimator. So it was the kind of classic Avacyn Restored flavor matchup. Green-white humans on the rise again, up against the big bad of Unburial Rites and Griselbrand.
Yes, Griselbrand, but also Angel of Glory's rise. It was more like a
schizophrenic
a seat for a local school board than for control of Avacyn Restored, right? It was like neighbors fighting.
Okay, and they did fight and fight and fight, but in the end, it was Yukihiro who got through again by the odd game in 5.
And Blasphemous Act was huge in that match.
Yep, the big Wrath of God costs 9, but it really doesn't. It costs 5 and 4 and 2 sometimes. Then we had the one match that we didn't get on camera at all, and it's all Josh Cho's fault.
Who had time? It was over. Yeah. We were still shuffling in the Gardenis match.
Sure.
When they had a game in the books.
So Josh Cho of the United States, at his first Pro Tour, part of the SCG Blue team, he had brought Naya. He was in not quite a mirror match, but certainly color-wise, up against Thomas Holzinger of Austria, another World Magic Cup player as we come to August in Indianapolis. He'll be playing for Austria. It was 3-0 to Cho, and talking to him afterwards, he said, sketchy mana base for Holzinger. It didn't hold up. Lots of mulligans and lots of bang, bang, bang in the books. But then, I'm going to let you talk about the quarterfinal and a real titanic tussle. Sometimes you see these matches, they go 5 sets, as it were, in tennis, but then the ultimate winner just crashes soon afterwards, and it takes too much out of them. But this was a great 5-game epic. Alexander Hayne, John Finkel.
On one hand, John Finkel in his 14th top 8. He's been playing on the Pro Tour since the very first Pro Tour. All the experience, all the success in the world. Playing against Alexander Hayne, playing in his rookie season. Some 16, 17 years after the Pro Tour has begun. He's playing in his rookie season. And, all signs point to John being a heavy favorite.
Okay, but what were the decks?
The decks. The Blue-Green Spirit deck in the hand of John Finkel. Same deck that we saw Gardenis Vidugiris playing. This deck was designed by Sam Black. You have Invisible Stalkers, Geist of St. Traft. You have Increasing Savagery. You have Spectral Flight. Sam Black referred to it as a mashup of his top 8 deck
from Philadelphia
and Gardenis' top 8 deck from Nagoya.
Wow, okay. So it's the best of 2011.
Yes.
Okay.
I just mashed them together and made a new deck.
So that was the black deck for John Finkel. What about Alexander Hayne?
Alexander Hayne, what a great story. We caught up with him early on day 2. He'd gotten off to a 1-3 start. Normally, he'd won a bunch of matches in a row in limited. Normally, we would not feature someone like that in a constructed deck tech, who has not won the majority of their matches to that point.
Sure.
But the deck was so spectacular. I'd watched it in action for 2 rounds. It was the Miracle deck. It was 16 miracles. A small component of card drawing, 1 counterspell, 4 Planeswalkers, and that was it. 27, 28 lands. I don't remember the exact number.
Yep.
27 lands. A beautiful deck. Played Devastation Tide. Played Terminus. Played Temporal Mastery. And for the killing stroke, Entreat the Angels.
Ugh. Any number of 4/4 angels at instant speed
Yeah.
during your upkeep, or sometimes during your opponent's end step.
Yeah, both Thought Scour and Think Twice gave him the ability to draw the first card of the turn on his opponent's turn.
Okay, so that went 3 games, 4 games?
That went the full 5 games. And Alexander Hayne came out on top. An amazing moment in that match, actually, where they were presenting their decks for Game 5, and Alexander Hayne just wide-eyed, looked stricken. He's like, I just put 65 cards in front of you. To John,
You can't do that, by the way.
he had just not completely sideboarded. He seemed utterly unflappable throughout the weekend, but perhaps for a moment nerves caught up with him, and he's like, I have to call a judge. What do I do? And John certainly had no interest in getting him a game loss, and the judges had no interest in giving him a game loss. And there was no advantage gained. He was like chastised properly for failure to de-sideboard, and they went about the match.
So they take 10% of his winnings. And
Yes,
yeah,
Ricardo gets
the commissioner comes in. No,
and then he went on to win the match against John Finkel.
okay. So that brought us to lunchtime, then into the semis. Galdenis Vidagiris back again with his Spirits deck, this time against Yukihiro with Reanimator. This went 5 games, but once again, Galdenis just about got there, and he'd, again, looked like he had a very favourable matchup, the feeling just like in the quarterfinals, that he should get there, and he did, but only just.
Yes, and then in the other semifinal, we had Alexander Hayne against Joshua Cho, both the two young breakout players of this event.
Sure.
Right, we had a number of players who have done something notable before. But for Josh Cho, this was his first Pro Tour.
Yes.
And he was playing in his first top 8, an incredible debut for a member of the Star City Blue team, playing against Alexander Hayne. He's played a couple Pro Tours this year, but this was his first and greatest performance. And the two of them collided. It was Naya, really the most widely played deck of the tournament, kind of a mid-range deck. It also had some miracles in it, Bonfire of the Damned, and that was a match we didn't know who it favored.
In the end, just 3-2, Hayne gets to the final.
So other than the first match, Joshua Cho played against Thomas Holzinger, every match we'd seen to that point went 5 games.
And then, you know what happens, the final comes along, somebody wins 3-0, the other deck just mulligans all the time, it's miserable, 40 minutes, we're done, we're out of there. No, didn't happen. Not this time. Wasn't meant to be. What was meant to be was nerve-shredding upkeeps, terrifyingly tense end steps.
Yes, imagine the tension of the Craig Jones Lightning Helix.
Over.
Every single turn.
Yeah.
Sometimes on my turn and sometimes on your turn.
It was just magic, the likes of which we haven't seen.
We've talked about Haymaker magic over the last couple years of Pro Tours.
So this is Haymaker magic?
This was white knuckle magic.
Okay. Yep.
White knuckled.
It was a thrill ride from start to finish.
I could hear my blood in my ears watching it.
It went 5 games. It was bound to. Eventually, Hayne pulls the trigger on Entreat the Angels. 20 power of flying angels hit the battlefield. Galdenis can't cope. In comes 20 power of angels, and in one hit, Alexander Hayne of Canada is your Pro Tour Avacyn Restored Champion for 2012. Just wonderful.
Yeah, obviously I have a personal connection to Galdenis. I'm disappointed to see him lose, but I'm so happy for Alexander Hayne. He was such an impressive young man, and expect more great things from him, his Canadian teammates. And I got to say, to me, one of the stories of this event, if I could, are, we saw the 2 super teams add themselves to the list, right? We had Channel Fireball. We've had the Team Mythic Powerhouse sort of formalize itself as a team as Star City Games Black. We had the young up-and-coming teams formed by Channel Fireball, Expatriate. Brad Nelson comes over and with Jerry Thompson forms Star City Games Blue. But you know what? There were a lot of other teams here this weekend. It's really something that I'm excited to see. Team Mana Deprived, a group of Canadian Magic players working together, end up coming up with the Miracle deck. Team Panic from the Bay Area in California.
Yep.
A bunch of young players, 10 players through to day 2. Super impressive. Very excited. The Swedes, no real team, to speak of specifically.
All of them.
But they're working together, they're preparing together, they're spurring each other on, and we're really seeing pockets of good Magic players coalescing, making each other better, making Magic better.
It's a great era for tournament Magic. We've got so many great events coming up. The World Magic Cup in August, the Players' Championship, the 16 players for that are crazy good at Magic, and you'll see all the action from that. And then, of course, there's the small matter of the next Pro Tour, Return to Ravnica, when we head off to Seattle later in the year. All those matches and great stories to come. There's Grand Prix Malmo next week. You can come and see us there. But until we meet again, here for the final time at the news desk, a Pro Tour Avacyn Restored. For the Pro Tour historian Brian David-Marshall, I'm your host, Richard Hagon, saying bye.